Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to take a look at my reading bullet journal for the first spread of 2024. I've updated everything with my January items, my updates, my spreads, and I am ready to show you. So let's dive right in. The first thing here is my reading log, and what I do is I write down the month, the title, and the star rating. I also made my own little symbols for how I basically, if I read it as a physical, an e-arc, or a audiobook. And then I have my first two reads ready to go for February, and I just add these little 2 lines here. Next up is my reading tracker. How I do this is by the format of the book, and then I highlight using one of my Tombow dual brush pens to fill in the colors. Here's also the bookshelf of 2024. How I do this is I read 20 books so far, so 20 of these bindings are highlighted based on my star rating system. And then these also correlate with the number of the book. So for example, if I look at number 8, Hereafter, that's a memoir by Amy Lynn. I rated it 5 stars. So that is number 8. Then what I do is I find number 8 and then I highlight it using my Tombow brush pen with the color of the rating that matched. So that's what I do there. My next page is my yearly stats spread. I fill out in January the numbers of books I read, physical, ebook, audiobook, number of days read, how many 5-star reads I've had, and then library rentals. I had 1 physical copy that I read and then 6 audiobooks that I read. I also include the Libby app, which is a fantastic app to use. This is not an ad, by the way. This is just me adding this in. But I use Libby for a ton, and Cloud Library for a ton of free audiobooks. You link up your library card and your ID number, and then you're pretty much good to go. Next one is my monthly stats, and this is just based on the stars that I gave out. So in January, I had 5 stars, 4 4 stars, which is cool, 1 1-star. So they kind of correlated there. And then I had 7 3-stars and 3 2-stars. Next is my 5-star spread. So I print out little pictures of the covers to go along with the book that I rated 5 stars. And those are my 5 books that I rated 5 stars in the month of January. As I continue to read 5 stars, I'll fill this up, and if I need to, I'll add another page to it. Next is Book of the Month Club. My January choice was Interesting Facts About Space, and unfortunately, guys, it didn't work for me. I gave it 2 stars. I feel like if I would have read it at a different point during the year, I might have bumped it up to 3, but that was just my feeling. However, I know a ton of people loved this one, so just because I rated it at a lower rating does not mean that it's not good. Just didn't fit with me. This is my favorite spread, I think, just because it's brand new. I have not done this spread, and shout out to Bethany. I'll tag her in my description here because she influenced me to try this spread. So this is the dates I finished a book. So again, same exact color coding system as my bookshelf that I'll show you here. Same exact colors, 5 stars down to 1 star. And then all I do when I finish a book in Goodreads, I clearly rate it on that day. And then I can either add it in that same day or I can go back to Goodreads. So for January, these are all the books I read. And these are the stars that I gave out. And the date number is on the left-hand side. And then when I move over to February, I'll have those dates ready to go too. This one was super satisfying. I also drew a diagonal if I finished 2 books in a day. And thankfully enough, those 2 days where I finished 2 books, they were both the same rating. So that was kind of cool. The next one I have here is must-read ARCs. And if you don't know what an ARC is, it's an advanced reader's copy. So through NetGalley or other publishers or indie authors, they can send out e-arcs, which are digital that can be downloaded right to your Kindle or whatever electronic reader you're using. They could also send Audible arcs, or they can send physical ARCs. And basically they're sending you a copy of the book before it's published in exchange for your honest review and rating. So in January, I have February ready to go, but in January I finished 6 ARCs. I had 3 that were ebooks, 2 that were audiobooks, and 1 that was a physical book. I also included the publisher that I received it from. A lot were from Berkeley Romance, since I am a Berkeley Romance influencer this year. 2 from Macmillan and 1 from, I'm going to butcher this, Minotaur Books. I gave the rating and then the money I saved. The next one is my library savings. I added a second page, and I'll show you that in a minute, but I'll bend it back just for right now. In the month of January, I had 7 books that I rented from the library. A lot of them, 6 of them were audios, and 1 were as a physical copy that I read. And this kind of correlates back to this little guy right here. I also included how much money I saved, and then this is going to be really satisfying for the end of the year to see the total amount of money saved over the year. Now, I am hoping to finish this spread, so that made me add in a second page. So when I'm ready to go, all I do is I take like a empty page from the back of my notebook and I rip it out. I cut it down to size, and then I just use tape to go along the sides, fold it back and forth a couple of times, so that way I'm ready to go. This is my Bookstagram growth. This is absolutely insane. I went from 33K to 40K at the end of January. It's incredible. I am so stoked about this page. I was not thinking of making a BookTube page, but maybe in my next years I can try to make like a subscriber growth chart just like this one. But because I started at Bookstagram, I am kind of just going from there. So super satisfying to look at, and maybe I'll be able to add in another folded page just like my library savings. Okay, this one is my monthly spread. So I print off the covers of the books that I read along with the audiobooks that I read. Audiobooks, you can see, are perfect squares that I just screenshot off of Goodreads. Then I also print out the other ones using my Canon selfie printer. It's a cute little thing that prints out on a 4x6 photo sheet that you can then cut down to size. I use Procreate to use that, but a lot of people can also use Canvas. And that might be even a video I show you guys how to do this if you want to print out your own covers. But I print these out. It doesn't really matter the order. I typically put the higher rated books up top, but these are just my books I read. When I include my January stats or any monthly stat that you see moving forward, I add the total books read, which was 20. Physical books of those were 9, audiobooks were 8, and then my ebook Kindle reads were 3. The total amount of pages I read this month were 4,683. Total hours listened was 71 hours and 28 minutes. I think that is by far the most I've ever listened to audiobooks with that length of time. And then the total days read, 31 days out of the total year is 31. So over time, I will add the total underneath these lines, moving forward into the year. My favorite read was Funny Story by Emily Henry. That is a easy 5 stars for me, and that one will be published soon. My least favorite was Dirty 30, and if you saw in my January wrap-up, you'll see why. So jump to that video if you need to see why I rated that 1 star. I messed up. Whatever. Whiteout eventually. My shortest book is 256 pages, and my longest book is 816 pages. Oh well, that is what it is. A lot of people, when they use and do bullet journals, they think, well, I'm scared to mess up. Well, clearly I mess up too all the time. A little bit of whiteout, a little bit of fixing, it's fine. So, reality. Now, these next couple spreads are just my monthly spreads ready to go, but then I will tab to my January. So now what I do is I have all of my reads from the month listed here. I also include whether it was an audiobook circled or if it's an arc. If it was in a series, I normally include the number as well, but these are all that I read in January. Don't look too closely because there will be spoilers if you pause when I turn the next couple pages. I started journaling because I never could remember the ending after reading so many books. So these next couple pages I'm going to show you are my summaries with the ending included. So again, don't pause and read it. But these are my summaries. What I do, I'm going to try to go a little bit faster, but on the left-hand sides and right-hand sides, I put the stars. I copy and glue in using one of these crafter tapes to roll on the glue sticky enhancement and stick on the picture. I add in the title, the author, and then either how long the book is by pages or how long it is with hours and minutes. And then just like this month, I had to do one of those papers again where I had to tape in just because of my longer month. And then I am ready for February. I already have my 2 that I'm reading right now, so I included that in there. And then I'll just keep going into February. Same exact thing. I'll move right along and add those in as I go. And that is my January bullet reading journal wrap up. Stay tuned for more bullet reading journal tips and reading tips. Some fun things that I am going to show you along the way. But if you like what you see, make sure you hit subscribe and happy reading.